What if the biggest secret in the electric car revolution wasn't a secret at all? What if it was a gift, a promise to share the keys to the kingdom? But what if that gift was a trap? June 12, 2014. Elon Musk stands in front of cameras and does the unthinkable. He opens Tesla's vault, every patent, every innovation, every hard-fought breakthrough that took a decade to develop, given away for free. The automotive world called him crazy, a dreamer, naive. They were wrong. This is the shocking story of Tesla's revolutionary motor and the truth behind the open-source patents that changed the world forever. Because sometimes, the best way to keep a secret is to tell everyone, knowing they won't believe you. Let's rewind to 2008. Picture this, a tiny startup in Silicon Valley, bleeding money, racing against bankruptcy. Tesla Motors. Most people had never heard of them. Those who had, they were placing bets on when, not if, they would fail. The established giants, General Motors, Ford, Toyota, they weren't worried. They'd been building cars for a century. What could a tech company possibly teach them? Then, the Roadster arrived. It wasn't supposed to be possible. 0 to 60 in 3.7 seconds, a range of 244 miles. All from a car that made absolutely no sound except the whisper of wind and the screech of tires struggling to grip the asphalt. But here's what nobody talks about. Hidden beneath that sleek carbon fiber body was something revolutionary, something that would change everything. The motor. Not just any motor. A 3-phase 4-pole AC induction motor that weighed only 70 pounds but delivered 288 horsepower. To put that in perspective, that's more power per pound than a Formula One engine. The engineering team at Tesla had done something remarkable. While everyone else was still trying to make electric cars that could go fast or go far, Tesla built one that could do both. The secret? Thermal management, cutting-edge inverter technology, and a liquid cooling system that kept the motor operating at peak efficiency. And nobody in Detroit was paying attention. Fast forward to June 2014. Tesla had survived. Against all odds, they'd proven electric cars could be desirable, powerful, and profitable. The Model S was winning every award imaginable. Car of the Year, Motor Trend's Car of the Century. And then Elon Musk did something nobody expected. He walked into Tesla's headquarters in Palo Alto, past the wall displaying all of Tesla's hard-earned patents, and made an announcement that sent shockwaves through the industry. Tesla will not initiate patent lawsuits against anyone who, in good faith, wants to use our technology. Let that sink in. Hundreds of patents, billions in research and development, the culmination of nearly a decade of innovation, just given away. The blog post he wrote that day was titled, "All Our Patent Are Belong to You," a reference to an old internet meme. He said Tesla was doing this for the advancement of electric vehicle technology. The response was immediate. Tech blogs called it revolutionary. Environmental groups praised his vision. The mainstream media painted Musk as a modern-day Prometheus, bringing fire to humanity. But here's where the story gets interesting. Because while the world was celebrating Tesla's generosity, something else was happening. Something far more calculated, far more brilliant. The established automakers, they barely glanced at those patents. Before we understand the genius of what happened next, you need to understand just how far ahead Tesla really was. Let's talk about the motor itself. Tesla's early vehicles used AC induction motors, the same basic principle Nikola Tesla himself invented in 1887. But calling Tesla's motor the same as a traditional induction motor is like calling a fighter jet the same as the Wright brothers' plane. Here's why it matters. Traditional motors lose energy to heat. They're inefficient, heavy, expensive to manufacture. Tesla's engineers solved this through 3 breakthrough innovations. First, advanced rotor design. Tesla developed a copper rotor that could spin at over 18,000 RPM, 3 times faster than conventional motors. Higher RPM means more power without adding weight. Second, thermal management. They created a liquid cooling system that flows through the motor housing, keeping temperatures optimal even during sustained high-performance driving. This meant the motor could output maximum power for longer without overheating. Third, the inverter. This is the brain of the system. Tesla's inverter converts DC battery power to AC motor power with 98% efficiency. For context, most electric motors at the time were operating at 85 to 90% efficiency. That difference? That's the difference between going 300 miles or 200 miles on the same battery. But Tesla didn't stop there. In 2016, they introduced something even more advanced, the permanent magnet synchronous reluctance motor. This motor combined the best of two worlds, the efficiency of permanent magnets with the high-speed capabilities of reluctance motors. The result? Even more power, even more efficiency, even less weight. By 2018, Tesla's Model 3 motor was achieving power densities that were thought impossible just a decade earlier. They were using less copper, fewer rare earth materials, and producing motors that could last over 1 million miles. And all of this technology, every innovation, every breakthrough, freely available in those open source patents. So why didn't anyone use them? Here's the truth they don't want you to know. The patents were worthless without the ecosystem. Think about it. You can't just take a Tesla motor design and drop it into a Ford. You need the battery technology to power it. You need the software to control it. You need the charging infrastructure to support it. You need the manufacturing expertise to build it at scale. This is where Musk's genius becomes clear. By the time he gave away the patents in 2014, Tesla was already 6 years ahead in manufacturing. They'd already made every mistake, already solved every problem, already built the supply chain. The patents were a Trojan horse. Here's what actually happened. While legacy automakers celebrated Tesla's generosity and went back to their gas-powered profit machines, Tesla was doing something else entirely. They were scaling, building gigafactories, securing lithium supplies, training thousands of workers in EV manufacturing, developing the next generation of battery chemistry, creating a charging network that spanned continents. In 2014, a senior executive at a major German automaker was asked about Tesla's patent announcement. You know what he said? "It's interesting, but we have our own approach to electric vehicles." Translation? We didn't even look at them. The arrogance was breathtaking. These were companies that had dominated the automotive industry for a century. They couldn't imagine that a startup from Silicon Valley, a company that hadn't even been profitable yet, could teach them anything about building cars. By the time they realized their mistake, it was too late. Let's jump to 2018. Volkswagen's CEO stands in front of his board of directors and makes a shocking announcement. VW will invest $91 billion to become an electric vehicle company. $91 billion to catch up to a company they dismissed just 4 years earlier. General Motors? They announced plans to phase out all gasoline-powered cars by 2035. Ford? They split their entire company in two. Ford Blue for gas cars. Ford Model E for electric vehicles. Every major automaker suddenly had the same revelation. Electric vehicles weren't the future. They were the present. And they were years, maybe decades, behind. Here's the most devastating part. Some of these companies actually tried to use Tesla's patents. They sent teams of engineers to study the designs. They tried to reverse engineer the technology. And you know what they discovered? The patents weren't enough, not even close. Because Tesla hadn't just patented a motor. They'd built an entire philosophy of manufacturing, software integration, and vertical integration that couldn't be copied from a blueprint. A former BMW executive, speaking off the record in 2020, admitted, "We underestimated them. We thought they were a car company trying to learn tech. They were actually a tech company that learned to build cars. There's a difference. That difference, that's everything." Today, Tesla's market value exceeds the combined value of the world's largest traditional automakers. The worthless patents, they accelerated the EV revolution exactly as Musk predicted, just not in the way anyone expected. By making the technology freely available, Tesla forced the entire industry to take electric vehicles seriously. But by the time the giants moved, Tesla had already won the race that mattered, the race to scale. Here's what keeps me up at night about this story. This wasn't about charity. This wasn't about saving the planet, though that was a convenient side effect. This was about the most brilliant competitive strategy in modern business history. Musk didn't give away Tesla's secrets. He gave away a roadmap that nobody could follow because they were too proud to try. And by the time their pride turned to panic, the road had already been traveled. There's a famous quote often attributed to Sun Tzu: "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." Elon Musk handed his competitors the weapons to beat him, and they were too arrogant to pick them up. So what's the real secret behind Tesla's motor? It's not the copper rotor, it's not the thermal management, it's not even the software. The real secret is this: sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to show everyone exactly what you're doing, knowing they still won't be able to stop you. The motor that powers the EV revolution was never really a secret. It was hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone brave enough or foolish enough to believe it could be done. The established giants looked at Tesla's open patents and saw generosity. Tesla looked at the established giants and saw opponents who had already lost. The revolution wasn't televised, it was open-sourced, and nobody was watching. Thanks for watching. If this story shocked you as much as it shocked me when I discovered it, hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the technologies that are changing our world. Drop a comment below. Do you think Musk's patent strategy was genius or reckless? I want to hear your thoughts. Until next time, stay curious, stay skeptical, and never underestimate the power of a secret hiding in plain sight.